Shalom Care, grooming essentials for the modern man of color. Shalom Care, grooming essentials for the modern man of color. Paraben-free, peace with care. For beard mousse, armpit mousse, or jock mousse, visit shalomcare4u2u.com. Shalom Care.
Brand disclaimer. The views and opinions expressed on this platform by individuals, callers, or invited guests are their own. The information you hear does not reflect the overall views of all parties associated with the brand. We encourage everyone to research all things heard live or via archive for edification purposes. Discretion is advised.
Help keep the show on the air. If you want to help, you can send me a donation to PayPal. The email is debatetalkforyou@gmail.com or through Cash App, $Sal Showtime. Thanks for your support.
Shalom, shalom, Shabbat shalom. You're now tuning in to Debate Talk for You Radio. I am Gabbar Alaha, and this is Spiritual Food Sabbath Meal, Episode 14. Today, we're going to be getting into Israelite Children's Book Collection Review. Okay, I got a lot of children's books here that I'm going to be showing you guys today, just giving you a review on them. Just to let you guys know what's out there, in case you guys are newly coming into the truth and you got children, you got little ones, and you want to figure out, hey, what kind of books should I be reading to them, or what kind of tools should I be using? So I want to go ahead and give the opportunity to share with you guys all the books that I have, that I buy for my child, and the things that I use with her whenever I'm reading with her and doing things with her that's biblical. Okay, so I want to go ahead and do that for you guys today. So that's what we're going to be getting into. So once again, Israelite Children's Book Collection Review. That is what we're going to be getting into today. Before I begin, I want to give all praises, and I do mean all praises, to the Most High Yahweh in the authority of His only begotten Son, Hamashiach Yahweh Shai, who was commonly called Jesus Christ. And to everyone tuning in now or on the playback, may Yahweh keep you and watch over you always. Shout out to Sal Showtime. I see that he's tuned in. He laughed. I'm not sure why he's laughing at me. But definitely appreciate Sal for allowing us to use the platform. And to all the other moderators and co-hosts on here, make sure y'all check out their content. They're gonna always be bringing fresh stuff. I see my co-host went live last night for 6 hours. I didn't think he was going to go that long. I didn't realize that until I woke up this morning. But shout out to my co-host. And y'all stay tuned, man. We got some content coming for you guys. We just been kind of on a little bit of a hiatus. We all got personal lives that we deal with. But gonna try to be coming back to you guys as often as possible. All right. So with that being said, let me go ahead. I'm going to turn my camera on for you guys today, because I'm going to be needing to share with you guys the things that I have as far as in my book collection that I have for my daughter. All right. So hopefully you guys can see me. You guys can hear me loud and clear. It's kind of cloudy out here today on the West Coast, and it looked like it might rain today. So I had to actually turn on an extra light so you guys can see me. All right. So let's go ahead and get this started. So what I'm going to do first, I'm just going to read a couple scriptures, and then from there, the bulk of what I'm going to be sharing with you guys today is just going to be the book collection, let you guys know what's in it. Some of you guys might already have some of these books, but if not, I'm just going to be sharing it all with you guys, let you know what my thoughts and opinions are on them, and so on and so forth. Okay. So, but I'm going to read a couple of scriptures to you guys first, just to kind of set the tone. Okay, so that way from there, we can just go right into the review. So that way you guys can see all the books that are readily available to you guys. All right, so let me go ahead and share my screen here. Let me bring this up. All right, let's start right here. And I'm actually going to start in Deuteronomy chapter 6. Okay. So let me go over here, Deuteronomy chapter 6. And that's Deuteronomy chapter 6. And I'm going to be starting at verse 4. Okay. So Deuteronomy chapter 6, verse 4. It says, "Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God is one Lord." Verse 5, "And thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, and with all thy soul, and with all thy might. And these words which I command thee this day shall be in thine heart, and thou shalt teach them diligently unto thy children, and thou shalt talk of them when thou sittest in thine house, and when thou walkest by the way, and when thou liest down, and when thou risest up." Okay, so by way of Moses, as the Most High gave him authority, we are given a instruction to teach our children the ways of the Most High. Okay, the commandments of the Most High. We are supposed to be teaching our children these things. So that's the purpose of why I'm doing this today, because I want to share with you guys some Israelite children's books that are available. I actually have my whole collection here. I'm going to try to go through them all today. I'm not going to read them page for page. I'm just going to show them to you guys and then give you my pros and cons about them. And then so that way you guys can know what's out there and what's actually available. If you in case you don't know, okay. I actually task myself with finding new children's Israelite books. Every time a new one comes out, I get it for my daughter. We go over it. I read it to her, and so on and so forth. Some things are used repeatedly, so I definitely want to be able to share with you guys the things that I use once again. Okay, so now from there, let's go to Proverbs 22. Proverbs 22 and verse 6. Okay, so Proverbs 22 and verse 6. It says, "Train up a child in the way he should go, and when he is old, he will not depart from it." Okay, so we're supposed to be training our children up in the way that they should go, in the way that they need to go, and so that way, and that they don't depart from, is the ways of the Most High, his laws, his statutes, his commands. Okay, I myself, me being a father, before coming into this truth, I didn't have any children. So I'm actually privileged and blessed with the opportunity to raise my child being an Israelite from the moment she came out of the womb. Okay. Myself, I didn't have this whenever I was younger. So I wasn't trained up in this all the way. Yes, I went to church and all that stuff, and I had some upbringing in the church or whatever, but I did not have an Israelite upbringing. So now that I have my own child and she's having an Israelite upbringing, she's being trained up in this way, I definitely get tools and resources for her to be trained up in, to assist in her being trained up in. Okay. And again, I'm going to be sharing these things with you guys so that way you guys can know what's available to help assist in raising up your child in the way that he or she should go. All right. So from there, I want to go to in the Apocrypha real quick. And so I'm just reading a couple scriptures and then we're going to get right into it. All right. All right. Ecclesiasticus chapter 6 and starting at verse 18. Ecclesiasticus chapter 6, starting at verse 18. It says, "My son, gather instruction from thy youth up, so shalt thou find wisdom till thine old age." Okay, so we're supposed to be, as children, trying to get this wisdom, knowledge, and understanding from the moment you are young, the moment you can comprehend things. Okay, you should be getting this instruction. Okay, a lot of us, we're not privileged to have this opportunity, but my daughter does. She has the opportunity. Okay, so that is what I'm doing. I'm giving her the instructions and all the things that I have available at my disposal to be able to train her up in the way that she should go. So that way she can gather this instruction from her youth up. Okay, verse 19, it says, "Come unto her as one that ploweth and soweth, and wait for her good fruits, For thou shalt not toil much in laboring about her, but thou shalt eat of her fruits right soon. So it's talking about wisdom. So from the moment that you are a child, you are supposed to be seeking out wisdom, even while you're young. Okay. And we don't always know how to seek that wisdom out. So that's where our parents are supposed to be stepping in to help guide us in the search of wisdom, in the search for wisdom. Okay. So again, this is why I'm going to be sharing with you guys the tools that I use. Okay. Verse 20, it says, she is very unpleasant to the unlearned. He that is without understanding will not remain with her. So this is why you got to get this from your youth, because if you are unlearned, wisdom's not going to be very pleasant to you. Okay, it's not going to be very pleasant. The wisdom of the Most High, His laws, His statutes, His commands, the testimony of His Son, Hamashiach Yahushai, okay, the Messiah, who is commonly called Jesus Christ. Okay, all these things are going to be unpleasant to you if you don't learn this from your youth. Okay, thankfully, a lot of us that are coming into this knowledge, we're finding pleasure in it. But it wasn't always pleasant at first. Okay, I myself can say that it wasn't always pleasant. It tickled my ears, but it actually took me to seek the wisdom for me to find pleasure in what I was learning. So I even had to become like a child. So now that, again, I have the opportunity to raise my child up, she's getting the wisdom at a very young age. As I seek it out, she's seeking it out as well. Verse 21, it says, she will lie upon him as a mighty stone of trial, and he will cast her from him ere it be long. For wisdom is according to her name, and she is not manifest unto many. Okay, so wisdom is going to lie upon an individual as a mighty stone of trial. Okay, so wisdom will bring you through patience and long suffering. This is why it's one of the fruits of the Spirit. Okay, that's why you got to eat of that fruit. You got to have patience and long suffering. This is why you got to get this from a child, because this is a marathon. It's not a sprint. This is a marathon that you run for life. So that's why you got to make sure that where your starting point is as young as possible. Okay. Again, even though I wasn't raised in this as a child, I was privileged to get this at a young age. I was still in my 20s whenever I came into the knowledge of being an Israelite. I was in my mid 20s. I am now in my mid 30s. So I've had well over 10 years of this now. But thankfully I came in at a younger age. But my daughter's getting it from the moment she was born. So I expect her to be much better than me. Verse 23, it says, give ear, my son, receive my advice, and refuse not my counsel, and put thy feet into her fetters, and thy neck into her chain. Bow down thy shoulder, and bear her, and be not grieved with her bonds. Come unto her with thy whole heart, and keep her ways with all thy power. Search and seek, and she shall be made known unto thee. And when thou hast gotten hold of her, let her not go. For at the last thou shalt find her rest, and that shall be turned into thy joy. Then shall her fetters be a strong defense for thee, and her chains a robe of glory. So now, again, it's still speaking about wisdom, okay, about how you got to search it and seek it out. Once you get a hold of it, don't let it go. This is why you got to give this to your children early, so that way they don't depart from it. Give them this wisdom as early as possible. Okay. So again, my daughter, she's been getting it since she's been coming out of since she came out of the womb. Okay. So ever since me and my wife had her, she's been getting it. Okay. We have books and stuff ready for her to start being read to her and all that before she was even born. Okay. We had these, and as she's gotten older, we just continue to buy her books. Okay. So again, that's what I'm going to be sharing with you guys today. Let me go ahead and finish this out. It says, verse 30, it says, for there is a golden ornament upon her, and her bands are purple lace. Thou shalt put her on as a robe of honor, and thou shalt put about I shall put her about thee as a crown of joy. So you're supposed to be basically clothed in wisdom from head to toe. Okay. That's why you got to dress your children. You know how when we dress our children, we bathe them, we clean them, we put clothes on them. This is something that they got to be dressed in every day as well. They got to be dressed in wisdom from head to toe, just like how we need to be dressed in wisdom from head to toe. Okay. Verse 32, my son, if thou wilt, thou shalt be taught. And if thou wilt apply thy mind, thou shalt be prudent. Okay. So part of studying to show yourself approved is applying your mind. So we have to teach our children how to apply their minds. That's why we have to read to them, help them, assist them in finding out wisdom. Okay. And making sure that they are trained up in the way that they don't depart from this wisdom that's being given to them. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and stop there. Let me go to one more. Sirach or Ecclesiasticus chapter 7. And I'm going to read verse 23. It says, hast thou children? Instruct them, and bow down their neck from their youth. Okay. So when you have children, you're supposed to be instructing them and bowing down their neck from their youth. You got to be on them. You got to be on your children. Okay. It's a lot of distractions that go on out here. Okay. And you got this social media world where these children get locked in, and they just learn a whole new world. And sometimes we're not always able to supervise it. So this is why we got to be on them. Okay. When it comes to giving them the wisdom that they need from a youth, so that way they can be trained up in it and never depart from it. All right. So let me go ahead and stop there for a second. Go ahead, remove that out. All right. So again, this is going to be a book review on Israelite children's books. Okay, a review on Israelite children's books. All right. So now I'm actually going to start out with these Bibles that I have for my child. Okay. I actually have two of them. All right. So this is the first one. I've had this for a couple of years now. I want to say since 2018, I probably had this when I bought this for my daughter. Now, this is actually the second edition of this. The first one sold out. Real fast. So, but when this came back in print, I got it. Okay. Then it went out of print again. So I believe it's back in print right now. And it's sold by Seventh Trumpet Media. I believe their website is also called mybibleculture.com, where you can actually purchase this Bible. So this is an illustrated reference Bible. Okay, you see that's a picture of the Messiah, melanated, with the woolly hair blowing that trumpet. Then so if you open it, I'll show you guys a couple things real quick in here. So as you see, once you open it, you see how it's got melanated people within the color of within the book. Okay, so again, this is a King James Version Bible. It's a King James Version Bible. It's a children's Bible, the illustrated reference Bible for kids. They also have an ebook for this, as well as you can get posters and stuff like that from their website also. But and as you see, it's just a regular Bible. It's still just a regular Bible. It still reads the same. It's a regular KJV. Okay, but again, this is the Bible here that I use for my daughter for her reading and stuff like that. You see, this is the backside, just showing you guys the backside of that. All right, so the next one I have is, let me set this over here real quick. Okay, so the next one I have, this is the other Bible that I have. So it's this one. All right, so now this one, the people are still kind of melanated. Still got some color to them, but the reason why I use this one is because it has the Apocrypha in it. So I'm able to read the Apocrypha to my child out of this book. And we're actually reading out of the Wisdom of Solomon right now. Okay. So this is one of them. This is the other one. And I can show you guys a couple pictures in here. So a couple pictures in here. You see, so like I said, they're not as melanated. They're they still got some brown to them. They're not as melanated in here. But again, I primarily use this one because it has the apocrypha in it. Now, I got this one before I purchased this one. So I ended up getting this one first because this one sold out. Okay. But again, so I kind of use them both. Now. And I read out of this one primarily for the Apocrypha. This is a contemporary English version translation. This one is contemporary English version translation. All right. So when you read it, it's gonna sound kind of weird, but I mean the point still gets made whenever you are doing the readings. Okay. Um, so those are, of course, the swords that I have for my daughter. Of course, we have a lot of other Bibles here as well. But this is primarily dealing with the children's books. Okay. So now I'm gonna go through the stack of books that I have from this person. Let me see which one I want to start out with. Let's start out with this. I'm gonna start out with this one. Okay, so the first one I'm gonna go to is this one right here. So this is it's a part of the Soul Am I series. It's actually a brother named Azariah Lindo. I have all his books. I actually have all of them for my daughter. I buy them every time he makes a new one. But this is the first one. He has his series is called So Am I, and this book is actually talking about the moon phases. Okay, so it goes through all the moon phases. I know some people got some different understandings on when the moon comes in and stuff like that. They'll say that the new moon is a sliver or a crescent or whatever. Some people say it's a dark moon, whatever. You know what I'm saying? This book, I will say that it does state that the moon is a dark moon. It will say that in here. Okay. As you see right here, you see how it says that it is a new moon. Okay, it's listed as a dark moon. Then it goes into all the other little phases and stuff. You see, he goes into the first quarter, so it gives a lesson on the moon phases for your child. And then at the end of it, what I find interesting is on this page right here, you see that the brother actually put a flat earth in there. So this brother, I think he's in the UK, Azariah Lindo. I don't know if I said that already, but I believe he's in the UK. And again, this is my first moon phase lesson. Okay, my first moon phase lesson. My daughter actually enjoys this book. Actually, every time a new moon comes in, we actually read this book. We'll read some scripture and we'll actually read this book every new moon. Okay, so next one we have from Azariah Lindo is this one right here. My first 1, 2, 3s with Hebrew. My first 1, 2, 3s with Hebrew. So basically, what this book does is it has the commandments in here. It's got the 10 commandments, and then they're able to count to 10 while actually learning the commandments at the same time. So as you see, if I open it here, see it's got 1, and then it's got the command, and then it's actually got the Hebrew letter here. Okay, the Hebrew letter Ah. All right, so that they actually learn Hebrew at the same time. So they can learn the 10 commandments, they can learn how to count 1 to 10, and they get to learn about the letters of the Hebrew alphabet, of the Paleo Hebrew alphabet. So this is the letter Ah right here. All right. And you see as you go on, you see it's got different pages, 6 or whatever, the letter Y, and letter 6, and then do not murder. Okay. So I read this one to my daughter quite often as well. Okay, so this one, I'll go to that one next. Okay, so this one right here is my first ABCs with Hebrew. Okay, my first ABCs with Hebrew. This is actually a good one as well because they get to learn a lot of Hebrew words, as well as learning their ABCs in English. So you see, it's got A, B. Then for A, it's got Abraham. Then for B, it's got boy. And then it's got the Hebrew word for boy, which is Yalad. Okay. And then as you flip through, you go to another one. You see for O, it's got offspring, and then it's got the Hebrew word for offspring, which is taza ataza. Okay, so you can learn. Your child can learn their ABCs as well as pick up Hebrew letters at the same time, and they're learning how to read all in one. So this brother, he's put together some simple stuff, but it's actually pretty genius, and my daughter's picking up on it very well. Okay, she's able to identify a menorah or a menorah as a lamp. So she'll see the menorah and she's like lamp, But I'm trying to get her to say it in Hebrew as well. Okay, so all right, the next one we have here is this: my first Paleo Hebrew alphabet. My first Paleo Hebrew alphabet. So as we see here in this book, it actually teaches them the Paleo Hebrew letters. Okay. Uh you see this here, the Paleo Hebrew letters. You see my daughter's already been kind of writing in it. She's kind of scribbled in it. There, you see at the front of it, she's kind of chewed on it a little bit, because she's had it for a long time. All right. So she's doing toddler things in it. But as you see, this actually teaches them the Hebrew alphabet, the Paleo Hebrew alphabet, or the dialect that is known as Lashawan Kodash. And again, it teaches them the letter, what the letter means as they go through it. So, I'll just flip over a couple more pages. You see how it's got the Hebrew letter Ha, Wa, then it lets them know what that letter means. And so they get to learn their Hebrew alphabet at the same time. And again, they're learning how to read as well, learning how to associate pictures with certain characters and certain letters and stuff like that. So they basically learn the things that you will learn in preschool. Okay, learning how to label and identify sight words, letters, and all those things. All right. Now when it comes to so now I'm gonna actually show this one real quick. So now this is supposed to be a game. Okay, I bought this game from this brother. I guess I think he's using the printing services through I think it's through like Amazon that he's using their printing services, and I guess they didn't print it correctly, because this is supposed to be like a game that you can like cut out and put the pieces together and everything. We never got around to doing it because the way they printed this book, it's not suitable to cut out. So what I do with this book is I use this book and I use this book together, and then I'll have my daughter do some matching for the Paleo Hebrew. So when I'm going over her Hebrew with her, I'll open up this page here. I'll turn to this page. See, it's got all the Hebrew letters. I'll turn to this page, and then I'll use this book, and I'll just open it up. So like I'll open it up, boom, and then I'll say the letter, so that way, and then she has to try to like correspond it as I'm actually saying it. Okay, so she's able to identify it, hear it, and point it out, try to match it. Okay, so I use these two together. I believe this brother, he's no longer having this printed, so you can't get this one anymore. Every time I've ever went back to go check it, it says out of print or not available. So you might not be able to get this one anymore. But again, I use these two together. Okay, I use these two in conjunction with each other. Okay, to help my daughter learn the Hebrew. Okay. Now this one I haven't gotten into this one too much yet. She's only 3. We're gonna start getting into this one, but this is actually a basic Paleo Hebrew handbook. I haven't let her. I don't let her write in this book or anything, because what I would suggest you guys do is you as you see here, like they can fill in the words or whatever, and I identify what letter it is. The only reason why I have not let her write in this yet is because I try to preserve it and make lessons out of it. So what I'll do is I'll actually use my scanner copy machine. I'll scan these pages and give her a worksheet page instead of actually letting her write completely in the book. That way I can keep reusing this book to print out of. But again, we haven't gotten this far yet because she is only 3. So she's learning how to read it right now. She's starting to get into her writing a little bit more, because she'll be 4 this year. So we're going to be getting into this book a little bit more. But uh, as you see, it's got all the fancy stuff in it for Yahweh, Yahweh Shai. It's got all the different Hebrew scripts, Paleo Hebrew scripts, and so on and so forth. Okay. Um, it's got some Bible lessons in there. Genesis part 1. It's got some stuff in there. Okay. So it's a cool little handbook. It'll help them answer questions. You can give them quizzes out of it and so on. Okay. So I haven't gotten into this one yet, but we'll be getting into this one soon. Now, let's see what else we got here. Okay. So now this is actually the newest one. The newest one, I just got this week. This brother, he just released it this week. So this is my first Paleo Hebrew numbers. Okay, so I read over it with my daughter the other day. She had enjoyed it. And just want to say Shabbat Shalom to Vinny D. Shabbat Shalom, Mott, man. Thanks for tuning in and always monitoring the chat, man. Y'all check out Vinny whenever he does his Torah readings here on Debate Talk for You, when he does them on Shabbat morning. Okay, so again, my first Paleo Hebrew numbers is still coming from the Soul of My series by Azariah Lindo, and like I said, this is the newest book that we actually had got for her. And you see, she's learning her numbers in Paleo Hebrew. She's learning her numbers in Paleo Hebrew. Okay, so you got 1, then you got 2, so on and so forth. Okay, so and she can still learn the letters at the same time. Okay, you see, and so on and so forth. All right. So I just want to say Shabbat Shalom to Mr. Fix It. Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom. Okay. All right, still dealing with the brother from the Swamai. Serious, still dealing with Azariah Lindo's books. Okay. Now this book right here, I haven't gotten into this one yet. Haven't gotten quite into this one yet. It's a little bit more advanced. I would say she probably won't get into this book till she's maybe 5 or 6. So she's probably got a couple more years before I started reading this book to her. Because again, it is a little bit more advanced. It's not a lot of pictures in it. It's not a whole lot of pictures in it. It's got some stuff in there. But this is basically going over the history over there in the UK before the slave trade. All right. Because again, the brother is from the UK. So everything that he's putting out is actually coming from there. So he's giving, so even when you read some of these other ones that I'm gonna show, some of the stories are kind of themed for the UK. Okay. Yeah, with this book right here, Before the Slave Trade, again, this is a little bit more advanced one because it's giving you some history on what was happening before the slave trade in the UK. Okay. So it's a cool little one. So this one I kind of have on standby, but I went ahead and bought it because you never know when this stuff goes out of print. So, and I teach my daughter like, hey, take care of your books. She be trying to chew on them and put them in her mouth and stuff. I'm like, nah, you got to preserve these books. So that's why I try to teach her. I just want to say Shabbat Shalom to Byron Reeves. Shabbat Shalom, man. Appreciate you tuning in. Okay, Michael Paul. I'm not sure how you got blocked. It wasn't me. I just want you to know that it wasn't me. I'm not sure how you got blocked. We'll have to go into the settings and see what's going on. Vinny might be able to take care of it. Okay. All right. So from there, still dealing with brother Micah. I'm Slakia. Brother Azariah Lindo. Still dealing with his books. Okay, so now let me see, 2, 1. All right, so now I think these are his first books that some of his first books that he came out with was actually like a story that was split up into different parts. Okay, so the first one is this one. It's called The Shabbat is Coming. The Shabbat is coming. The Shabbat is coming. This is episode 1. Okay, so the Shabbat is coming. Episode 1. They've actually got some pretty funny stories. So it's actually about this boy and this girl, which is Boaz and Kainai. All right, Boaz and Kainai, and they go through different things as far as like the sister saying, hey, the Shabbat is coming, and then she thinks the Shabbat is like it's like some fictional character or something. you know when whenever she hears her parents say the Shabbat is coming, she thinks that like literally Shabbat is like a character that's gonna like come and like haunt her in her sleep and stuff, and then her brother laughs at her and has to explain to her with with explaining to her what it is, about when her parents said the Shabbat is coming, like it didn't mean that a monster was gonna get ready to come. Okay, so this is a good one you can read to your children. Um and then also this is episode 2. The profits are going through the roof. The profits are going through the roof. It's been a while since I've read some of these to my daughter, so I don't remember the stories word for word. But again, these are just some tools that you can use to help keep the conversation going with your child and make it interesting. Okay. Um, so this is another one. The profits are going through the roof. This is episode 2. And then episode 3 is called It's in the Sauce. Okay. It's in the sauce. This is actually episode 3 right here. And then there's episode 4, Night of the Living Dead. This is episode 4, Night of the Living Dead. And then this is episode 5, There's Life in the Words. Episode 5, There's Life in the Words. He hasn't came out with any new episodes of this particular story yet, but again, I collect them all so that way I can have them all on hand. Now, with these 5 books, the brother does actually. I just didn't purchase it because I didn't need to purchase it, but he does have all 5 of these books as one book that you can buy. You can buy all these together as one book. It's episode 1 through 5. I think it's probably like I think it's probably like 100-page book or whatever. And then he's charging like $30 for it. So after the Shabbat, if you guys want to go support the brother, again, you could go on soamibooks.com, I believe. You can go on soamibooks.com, or you can go on like Amazon and support the brother. And the books, they ship real fast in like a few days. Especially if you have an Amazon Prime account. These books, they ship fast, so support the brother. Like I say, he's got a lot of good books, for Hebrew and and everything else. I'm not even done showcasing any of his books yet. I still got some more books to go to. Okay, but again, you can get these 5 books as one book, episode 1 through 5, for I think for like $30. Okay, so those are all of those. Now, he also came out with some other different episode books. I read a couple of these to my daughter. We haven't finished them yet. So I'll go ahead and start it with this one. So this one is called the Wisdom Anthology Series. Wisdom Anthology Series. So it's got 3 short stories in here, and you don't have to actually read the entire book. You can just read a story from this book. All right, and there's 3 short stories in each one. And you see, this is episode 1. This is episode 1. Only thing is, it's not a lot of pictures in here, so your child's gonna have to really be attentive. It's literally like 1 picture per story. 1 picture per story at the beginning. And then after that, it's going to be a lot of reading, and they're going to have to be really attentive to make sure that they're kind of like really engaged in what is being talked about. But again, I think the brother's website is soamibooks.com. I want to say that's what it is. Don't quote me on it. I would say Google him, or you can just go on Amazon. The brother's name is Azariah Lindo. All right. So again, this is episode 2. Okay. So yeah, episode 1 has got 3 short stories. Is honor your father and your mother. Thou shalt not kill. Window through time. And then episode 2 is lying, gossip, fellowship. And then episode 3 Episode 3 is humility, selfishness, and envy. And then episode 4 is correction, freedom, forgiveness. All right. And then episode 5 is reconciliation, Chanukah, and helping the poor. Okay. Yes, I believe it's sowonmybooks.com. I believe that's what it is. Yes, sowonmybooks.com. All right, appreciate you, Vinny, man, for putting that link in the chat. So sowonmybooks.com. Okay. So that's the entire So Am I series. Again, like I said, I have the entire So Am I series. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna share some other books that I have from some other people, and I'm actually not gonna be on here very long with you guys this morning. Again, I just want to do a little review and show you guys the books that I use. I was posting them on Facebook on my news feed. I just got tired of taking the pictures, so because I'm always going to be buying new books for my daughter as they come out. We do have other books for her, but these are all the biblical based ones. We actually do have other books for her also, but these are the biblically based ones. So I'm going to go to this one right here, Little Judah in America by Huda Daweed. All right, I believe Huda is a part of Awakening Remnant Coalition, or the ARC. And I believe her husband, I forget her husband's name. Her husband is the one who actually runs that congregation. But Huda's got some other books that she has written as well. But this one right here is it's a very good one. I'll like flip open a couple pages for you guys. See, it goes into all this. It basically goes into the story of the Israelites, how they went into slavery, how they came over here into America through the transatlantic slave trade, and so on and so on. Okay, it's got some pretty good pictures in here. Pictures are pretty decent, so you get visuals as well as you get the literary part as well. Okay, so let me see what else do I got here. So that's Little Judah in America by Huda Daweed. All right. So the next one I have is, all right. So I have these two. Okay, by Rasa Connor. You got this one and then you got this one. Okay, these are actually two different books, though the cover is the same. These are actually two different books. This one, sorry, I'm trying to get my hands together. This one right here is actually a little different because it says the beginning, but this is the book she actually came out with first. Okay, now you can purchase this book off of on Amazon as well. You could go on Etsy, or you could go on a website called King Exchange Apparel. King Exchange Apparel. They also have fringe t-shirts, dresses, skirts, and other stuff that you can buy, also like clothing that you can buy. But these are the books that are available for purchase for your child. This book, it's a pretty simple book. It just goes into, mommy and daddy are Israelites too. Then it goes into like how being an Israelite, what it all means and stuff and everything. Okay, so I wear fringes with the border blue every day, so on and so on. I keep the Shabbat and so on and so on. Okay, so yes, that is herroyalroots.com. Who does books? That's for Little Judah in America. All right, for Little Judah in America. All right, so now and again, so we're going back over this one. I am an Israelite. All right. So that's basically what that book entails. It just goes into how they are an Israelite and what they do. It's just basic practices. The book is not long. It's not a long read. You can read it in like 5 minutes. Okay, with your child. All right. Now this is the second one. I actually enjoyed this one. This one actually goes over the book of Genesis. Okay. So that's why it says the beginning. Now as you flip it open, it says in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was God, and the Word was with God. So it goes to John 1:1. It starts out there, and then as you can see, it continues to go on, and then in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. So it's basically giving you Genesis chapter 1, Okay, so day 1, day 7, when the Most High rested. Okay, and then so on, day 2, and so on and so on. This is a good book. I love the illustrations in this book. All right, this is, like I said, so these are some basic things that you can use with your child. You see, our brothers and sisters are very talented. They got good drawings, colors, all of that. Okay, so again, that these two can be purchased on King Exchange Apparel. King Exchange Apparel. Okay, and I think they're about 10. I think they're about $10. So after the Shabbat, you guys can make those purchases also. Okay, or whenever I know everybody's got different calendars whenever your Shabbat is, so you guys can make those purchases on King Exchange Apparel as well as Amazon. Most of these books I got off of Amazon. There's only a few that I did not get off of Amazon. Like those 2 Bibles I showed earlier. Those I did not get off of Amazon. Those are not available on there. Let me go back over here and grab them real quick. So this book again, you can go to this Bible. You can go to mybibleculture.com. mybibleculture.com. Okay, and then for this one, I'm not even sure where I got this. I believe I got this one off of walmart.com. I think it was available on Walmart. And when I used to be on social media years ago, before I had shut down my old account, actually a sister had told me about this one. She was just like, hey, it's a CEV translation. It's a CEV translation. So just so you know, it's a CEV translation, because this one was not available at the time I was trying to purchase it. I was trying to purchase this one before I even got married. I just wanted to have it. Okay, but again, I believe these are in stock right now. You can go to mybibleculture.com to purchase this one. Okay, and Vinny is putting up the links as well, so that King Exchange Apparel is for this one. Okay, for King Exchange Apparel. All right, and then mybibleculture.com is for this one. Okay, mybibleculture.com is for this one. All right, so moving on. Okay, all right, so moving on. Now we got this one. All right, 3 Little Hebrew Boys and the Big Bad Wolf. All right, by Keturah Rayna, illustrated by Taja Alston. All right, now I'm not sure if they have a website back here or anything. I didn't actually see one. Yeah, so this one, I haven't. I read it. I read it a little bit, because what I like to do is I like to screen the books. I'll read them myself before I read it to my daughter. So that way, if there is a bone in there, I kind of know how to work through it. But and I'm gonna be sharing a couple of bones with you guys in a second with some of these other books that you guys just need to just be on the lookout for. All right, so but again, this one. So I haven't really read this one too much to her yet, but basically, this is dealing with basically Meshach, Shadrach, and Abednego. It's dealing with that particular story. Okay, it's dealing with that one in particular. Shout out to Michael Paul. Shout out to Michael Paul. Very good books. Yeah, man. Like I said, our brothers and sisters, man, they make some good books. They make some very good books. They make some very good Israelite children's books. So there is plenty that are available. Okay, you don't have to get all of these. I just get them all because, one, I like to support my brothers and sisters, and then 2, I just want to be sure that my daughter has all the books that she needs, because I didn't have this stuff as a child. So I'm trying to give her everything that I did not have. All right. So again, I haven't read too much really into this one to its fullest extent, but as you see, it's got stuff about the author in there. If you guys want to see some of the illustrations, these are some of the illustrations. Okay. See, there's some of the illustrations, so you guys can definitely use some of these for your child. Again, Amazon has pretty much all these books. I'm not sure if there's a website in here for her. Let me see if there's one in here about the author section. Oh yeah, there is. So that's the website for you guys right there. IamMediaBooks.com. IamMediaBooks.com. All right, and then to get to this book specifically, you just do the /3-little-Hebrew-boys. Okay, but that is where you can get this book, as well as on like Amazon.com. All right. All right, so now moving on, we got this one right here. All right, now I'm kind of mad about this one. Let me tell y'all why. I paid $20 for this. Whenever I got it a few years ago, I paid $20 for this. It pops up in my Amazon suggestions for $10. I was like, oh man, I paid double for this. I paid $20 for this book, and now it's only $10. So you guys can actually get it for a better deal whenever it's not the Shabbat. Okay, but I actually enjoyed this one. This one I enjoy reading to my daughter a lot. I've read it to her quite a few times because it goes through basic daily behavior, on what you're supposed to be, on what a child should be doing. All right. So it's like every day you wake up, give thanks to the Most High. Okay. Okay. Get cleaned up, brush your teeth. Okay. Help out mom and dad. Eat some breakfast with the siblings. Okay. Then as you see, my daughter done tore it a little bit. We had to like tape it back together, so she's actually torn it. Yeah, so IamMediaBooks.com. Appreciate it, Vinny. That's for this book right here, IamMediaBooks.com. Okay, so let me go back up here now. Once again, so you see, it shows how they're reading, studying the word together, what they do as a family, about what they learn about, Okay, so translating slave trades, got that in there. Goes into how they should behave while they're at the playground, how a Hebrew's always on his best behavior. You see all the other kids, they're like playing and fighting, but it's still showing how the Hebrew's on their best behavior. Okay. So, and again, these illustrations are amazing. Okay. Let me see if there's a website in here for this particular author. No, nothing in here. So again, you can get this off of Amazon.com. All right, that's where you can purchase this one. Okay. So moving on. All right. So now we have this one. Okay. Now we have this one. All right. Shabbat School. I haven't dug into this one yet. My daughter is still a little bit too young for it. Still a little bit too young, but it's something that we do have on standby. Guys, you see, this is for ages between the ages of 5 and 14. So my daughter is only 3, but she's working up to it. She's definitely working up to it. So we're probably going to start doing this probably like in the next couple of months. Actually, for this, when the pagan holiday season comes around in December, we'll probably start using this one because she'll be 4 and she'll be like working her way to being 5. So we'll probably start implementing it this year. But yeah, this is also another one of those books where I treat it like a workbook. I don't let her write in it. I'll scan pages out of it, and then I'll let her like do pages from the book so I can preserve this and reuse it as needed. Okay, because repetition is key. All right, but as you see, there's a bunch of little Bible lessons. You know how we used to be in Sunday school, for those of us who were in the Sunday church, how they would give us those little Sunday school books. That's basically what this is. It's just for Hebrews. But it's basically the same thing. You see, it's got a maze in there and all that. This is why I don't want her to write in it, because I'd rather copy this page, scan it, and then so that way she can just use it as, I can just give it to her as like worksheets, as opposed to giving her the whole book. Because once she writes in the book, that's it. We can't use it anymore. So I'm like, no, we're just gonna, scan and copy pages out of here so that way she can use it like that. All right. And then for this one, they do have a website here. It's called thefightoflife.com. Thefightoflife.com. You guys can see that at the bottom. Thefightoflife.com. Thefightoflife.com. All right. Okay. So again, this is something that you can use as well. Micah said, just buy 2 books. Yeah, I guess you could. I guess we could do that too. We could buy 2 books as well. But we have a copier and printer, so, and we have a laminator and all of that. So we got the whole works. So we might as well just use it since we got all the works. But yeah, buying 2 books is not a bad idea either. Okay. Moving on. So now we're gonna go over to this one. All right, a Hebrew child's prayer. A Hebrew child's prayer. Uh, so this one's by Jennifer Williams. This one is by Jennifer Williams. This one right here, forgot to give you guys the author's name. This one right here is by Quinn Batiste. Quinn Batiste. This one here is um, by Jennifer Williams. This one was by Army by Remy Chael Betya. Okay, so Jennifer Williams made this book. It's a pretty decent book. I've actually read through it a little bit. I read it to my daughter like once or twice. It's definitely got some good things that can be included in prayer and keep them in a meditation on. There's some pictures in here, to keep them engaged and stuff. That's one thing I've learned about children is, man, sometimes they be needing those pictures to be fully engaged. So they got some pictures in here. Okay. All right, and and so on and so on. All right. So there's some decent things in this book as well. Let's see. Now this one right here. This one I actually got from Deacon Hakah from Sakari. I actually reached out to him personally and made this purchase from him. So I believe he's got his website in here somewhere. It's somewhere in here. I'm not sure, but basically, if you want to get this one, you got to get it from Deacon Hakah from the Sakari camp. So I ended up purchasing this from him, and then he'll just ship it right out. He'll just ship it right out to you. I've had this one actually for a while. As you can see, it's been ripped and stuck, and my daughter was getting to it and everything. But the illustrations in here are actually pretty good as well. Okay. There's actually some pretty good illustrations. It's actually a pretty good book. I know y'all probably think, oh man, that's Sakari from that camp. No, I mean actually the book is decent. The book is actually decent. Okay. It just gives short versions of certain biblical stories, like creation and what happened in the garden. I mean, he deals with Jacob and Esau, and then deals with the Messiah, and then so on and so on. Okay. So again, this is a good one by Deacon Hakah from Sakari. It's called Our Kids Bible. Our Kids Bible. Okay. It's a pretty decent one. All right. So next we got this one, Yalani and the Matana. Yalani and the Matana. Okay. Let me see if there's don't see a website for this one either. Okay. But this is by Amira Batya, and the illustration is by Tasha Alston. So Tasha Alston actually she made this one. So Tasha Alston actually did the illustrations for both of these books right here. Okay. But for this one, Yalani and the Matana. So you flip through it here. Actually, this one's actually available on immediabooks.com as well. Okay. immediabooks.com. All right. And I've read this one with my daughter. And I haven't read it to her again. I don't think it's her favorite, but it is still something that you can use, during story time. They say before you have your child go to bed, like you can use this during story time as well. Okay. But again, this is Yalani and the Matana. It is available on immediabooks.com. Okay. All right. So moving on. Now we have this one. All right. By Tabitha, a Disciple Israel. Okay. Some of you guys actually may follow her on Facebook or on social media. I actually have a couple of her books. This is the first one I had got from her. What does the creator of all things call me? So I flip it over to the back. You see that's Tabitha Israel right there. Like I said, some of you guys may be friends with her on Facebook. Me and her actually are in a group together on Facebook. So this is actually a really good book. This is actually a really good book. The way that the phrases are put together in this book, the illustrations, The illustrations are amazing in this book. Like, this is some good illustrations, I must say. This is some very good lifelike illustrations. Like, the sister did a good job with this one. Okay, did a real good job. My daughter is fully engaged whenever I read this book. Okay, so this is a really good one. Helps them, understand what the Creator calls them, which is an Israelite. Okay, which is a Hebrew. All right. Actually, let me pull out the second one that I have from her. So this is the second one. This is the second one. Can I give the Creator a hug, a kiss, or a fancy gift? This is actually one of her newer books that she had released. Okay, you see Tabitha A. Israel. Okay, you see she released the first one. She actually has her website there. Uh, TabithaIsraelBooks.com. TabithaIsraelBooks.com. You can go check out her for her website, be able to purchase her books that she has available as well. Okay, as you see, same deal. The illustrations are amazing. Once again, um, I haven't had a chance to read this one to my daughter yet because, again, it's a fairly new one. It's a fairly new one, so I haven't had a chance to go through all of it yet. But you see, it's dealing with the Ten Commandments in there. Um, so yeah, they'll get a lot of good lessons. Okay, on the commandments, the heart of the commandments, which is the 10. Okay. Let's see what else do we have here. Now I'm gonna pull up this one real quick. Now, this one is by. So some of those websites don't work. Well, you can get them off of like I said, I can't control their websites. That's just what they have listed. But maybe sometimes what'll happen too is because Vinny says some of their websites don't work. Sometimes what they will do is on the Sabbath, they'll actually shut down their website. They don't want nobody making no purchases on their website. So it might be it might be back up tomorrow. That's just what I've experienced also, is that when you go on their websites during the Sabbath or a feast day, uh sometimes their websites are not working because they don't want people to make purchases on their websites. So they will shut down their website for the Sabbath or for a feast day. Okay, and then it'll reopen afterwards. So that may be the case. Okay. So you guys can just keep these archived and then wait till after the Shabbat, and then it might be back up. I would say give it until so-called Monday or the second day of the week. Okay, to know for sure. Some people are getting ready to do Pentecost. So some people are getting ready for that. So it might be shut down tomorrow as well, because some people are getting ready to do it. We're not doing it until the week after, but until the 22nd, 23rd. But some people might have it shut down the whole weekend. It really just depends. Some people they'll have it back up as soon as the sun goes down tonight. So it really just depends. Um, that's just my experience. Some people will shut down their website. So this one says Tabitha Israel also. We are peculiar. I don't think it's the same Tabitha Israel though. I thought it was initially, but then when I started reading through it, I was like, this doesn't look like the same person. But it could very well be. I'm not for certain though. I'm really not for certain. Because as you see, the illustrations are a little different. Okay, but this is a good one also because it lets them know how they are peculiar. Now there is a website on here, and it says imagerymatters.org. So that might be where you can purchase this book at. Again, this one I also got off of Amazon. A lot of these books I got off of there. Okay. So now Amazon is not going to shut down their website just because it's a Sabbath. They're not going to do that. So you got to exercise some restraint and not go make those purchases. They can wait. Put them in your shopping cart and save them for later and just make the purchase later. But again, support your brothers and sisters. These are all some fairly decent books. Okay. Um, and again, this one just goes into how they are peculiar. Okay. So a lot of good tools that you guys can use. All right. And then Micah, Vinny said that yeah, you've been unblocked. So whatever account you were blocked under, you should be able to use it now. Okay. All right. So moving on. Um, so now we got this one. I'm going to the feast. Yes, this was made by somebody from Israel United in Christ. All right. I don't know who exactly. Oh, it says it right here. It says created by Zerubbabel Israel, written by sisters Ivy Israel and Amina Israel, illustrations by Ram Judah Israel. Okay. So I'm going to the feast. This is more so like a coloring book. This is more so like a coloring book. There was some grammatical errors in this book. So basically what I do with this book is I'll just copy pages and let my daughter color. Just give her an activity like a worksheet, you know. So again, there are some grammatical errors in this book that you're gonna have to correct along the way. Okay. And so, but as you can see, it's just a coloring book. I actually printed this. I copied this page off for her before, so that way she can like count the shofars and like put how many there are in the corner and all that. That's the reason why. That's also another reason why I do that, is because sometimes you may need to have your child do this again, just because again repetition is key. This is the reason why I do copy the pages out of the book. I scan and copy the pages and print them. Okay, so that way they can be reused again, because repetition is key. All right, so this is, I forget where I believe this one got bought off of Amazon as well. I believe it did. Yes, because I can tell by the way it got printed. Anytime you guys see this on the back of a book, uh, anytime you see something like this on the back of a book, you see I bought this back in 2017. So anytime you guys see something like this in the back of the book, where that little print right there is there, like this. Sometimes the state may be different depending on where you live, but because at the time when I bought this, I was actually in Texas, so it got printed in Delaware, and then it got shipped to me. But a lot of my books now they get printed in Las Vegas. Like for example, you see this one, I bought this one in March of 2021, and it got printed in Las Vegas. Okay, but still all coming from the same source, which is Amazon, because they do own their own printing now. And that's how actually a lot of brothers and sisters are publishing books now, because the printing from Amazon, you get a really great deal on it. Okay, so now this is actually the second copy of this book. Okay, this is actually the second copy of this book. Mommy is Today Sabbath. So we bought this book before my daughter was born, and then we moved, and somehow in the process of moving, we lost this book, so we had to rebuy it again. Okay, but this is actually a good book also. Um, only thing about this book is it's not by a quote unquote Israelite. I believe these were 7-day Adventists that made this book. So just be mindful of that, because when you get to the part about the Sabbath, it talks about how they got to go to church. So so just be kind of mindful about that. They don't say go to camp or go to school or go to Sabbath school. They say go to church. So I believe that's the only thing you got to be mindful of is when you read this book. I think it's kind of more so for 7-day Adventists, but I got it because of the imagery. As you can see, it still got people of color in here. Okay, and they're talking about when the Sabbath day comes in, what you do on those other days beforehand, and all of that. Okay, so it's still showing melanated people. This is the reason why I got this book. Okay, that was one of the main reasons, because I like to have my daughter see images of her own people. Okay, all right. So moving along, now we have this one. What does Christ look like? Again, I believe this is also from someone that's a part of IUIC, but you can purchase all of these books on Amazon. Okay, you can purchase all of these books on Amazon. So, what does Christ look like? This is actually, did I read this one to my daughter yet? This is one of the newer ones. Yes, I did. I read it. I read it. I read it to her once. I read it to her once. So you see, you flip through it. Got some good illustrations in here. Okay, just going through what the Messiah looks like. Okay, all right. So again, it's a pretty decent one as well. What does Christ look like? Okay, next up, I got a few more left, and then I'm gonna get ready to just shut it down in a minute here. All right, I want to be like mommy. All right, I haven't read this one yet. I believe my daughter has. My wife has read it to my daughter. I personally haven't read it. I kind of got it for them. Um, so I just kind of had skimmed through it just to make sure everything was all good in it and looked like everything was all good. I'm not a fan of the illustrations. I'm not a fan of it, but I think the point gets across like, hey, I want to be like mommy in terms of when she's being righteous, so yeah, you got all of this in there. Like I said, the illustrations they're okay. I mean, but in comparison to the other books I have here, this is kind of like, not as good as some of the other ones, but again, it's still something that you can use. Okay, I want to. So if you have daughters, okay, then you can definitely um and apparently uh they're gonna do what I want to be like mommy too. Okay, so apparently they're gonna come out with another one. All right, so I want to be like mommy. This is by uh Shafara Israel, and it's illustrated by Rebecca Israel. All right, this one right here was written by Abel Israel, and then it was illustrated by Emmanuel Israel. Okay, and then this one again, it was it was written by Jacqueline Galloway Blake, illustrated by Max Sasuyuk. Okay, all right. So now coming to this, My Bible Culture, the same company that came out with this Bible also came out with this book. All right. And you can go to mybibleculture.com to actually get this book. This book, illustrations in this book is amazing. They definitely did not disappoint. So anytime I want to get into a story about the Messiah, I use this book right here. Okay. Uh, as you see, illustrations are amazing. So My Bible Culture came out with this book, and you can actually get this book on their website on mybibleculture.com. Okay, but again, illustrations are amazing in this book. All right, great story, and good stuff. Good stuff. All right. Um, Last but not least, I got the final book for you guys. Let me get ready to go ahead and send out the link in the chat real quick in case you guys want to come on briefly talk about any other books that for children that may be out there that you guys may know about or maybe you yourself are working on a book, a children's book or something. You guys can come on into the chat. I got one more book to share, and if nobody comes on, uh, then I'm gonna go ahead and get ready to close it out. Again, I didn't plan on keeping you guys too long today. Uh, All right, so the link is out in the chat. The link is in the chat. So if you guys want to come on, give any feedback on any of the books, or if you got other books that you guys may know about that you guys want to put out there to the people, feel free to do so. Okay. So now this is the last one. All right. The Bible is Black History Children's Edition. The Bible is Black History Children's Edition. So I actually have this brother's book, Dr. Theron D. Williams. I actually have his actual book about the Bible is Black History. So I was like, all right, well, let me get the children's book. Let me go ahead and get the children's book. Now, there's some pros and cons to it. Let me first start out with the pros. You see the illustrations, wonderful. Illustrations are wonderful. Like, man, these illustrations are on point. And the illustrator for this book is Tyrus Gaucher. Tyrus Gaucher. So again, the illustrations in this book, wonderful, on point. Like, man. But then there's a couple of inconsistencies in this book. Like, for example, when you get to uh when it gets here, it talks about, whenever Eve sinned, it talks about the apple. So they kind of dropped the ball right there. So again, sometimes you gotta navigate through some of these books, and then for those of us, okay, so you see here, they put they put Japhet as someone who's got like super light skin, even though they're all brothers, even though Ham, Shem, and Japhet are all brothers. For some reason, Japhet looks different. So that was kind of weird. I found that to be a little weird. Even with Noah, you see Noah is like, they got Noah looking super high yellow, like super duper, super almost like a white man. They got Noah almost looking like a white man, so-called white man. And then and then and then I kind of tripped out on this, how they did all that for Noah and Japheth, but then when they get to Jacob and Esau, they do this for Jacob and Esau. So I was just like, okay. I mean, I know everybody doesn't believe that Esau's a so-called white man. I understand that. Some people think he's Arab or whatever the case is, but I'm just pointing out the inconsistencies with the illustrations in this book. Uh, so I just kind of found that to be interesting, And then when it gets to the 12 sons, look how they got Levi looking. They got Levi looking like he's from Spain or something, So so again, it's still a fairly good book though, because it does talk about you know some of the stories and everything and stuff. So it's still a fairly good book. You just kind of have to navigate through it a little bit. And there is some inconsistencies. Yeah, Vinny, I am aware about Enoch, I believe, saying that he was albino and all that stuff. I do remember something like that being written. I don't know how true that is, but I don't remember. It's not in Jasher, because I'm studying Jasher right now, and I'm going through the Book of Genesis. It's definitely not in Jasher. That's where it definitely is not. It is come out of the Book of Enoch, and Enoch is not a book that I personally ascribe to for doctrine. I've read it, but I don't necessarily use it as teaching for doctrine. All right, but that's all I have for you guys. The link is in the chat. Those are all the children's collection books that I have that you guys can go back and research. Pick which ones you guys want to have for your collection for your children. Shabbat shalom to LM. Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom. Yeah, the link again. The link is in the chat if you guys want to come on. I really didn't plan on being on too long for you guys today. I just wanted to kind of give a little review on the children's books that I have available, so that you guys can purchase books for your children, be able to use for them. Because as the scripture says, we should train up a child in the way that they should go, and having these books definitely helps out with that. Okay, those are all the ones that I have. Of course, I'm gonna keep buying other ones, and I'm gonna keep on getting other books for my daughter as well. Like I said, we got other books for her that are out that are not biblically based, but we have a majority of the books that we buy for her are biblical based, and these are all of them that we have right here. Okay, so we haven't had to go buy some of the children's Bible. We haven't had to you know have her sit down and watch Veggie Tales, even though we did that in the beginning. We now no longer have to do those kinds of things. Okay, appreciate you, Michael Paul. Appreciate you, man, for saying that. Again, this is just for everybody to know what's out there and what's actually readily available. Okay. While I'll wait for 3 more minutes to see if anybody's gonna come on. If not, we'll start to get ready to close it out. So uh he says I get the PJ library. The PJ. Yeah, man. So definitely be sure y'all come back to Debate Talk for You. And he says give Enoch a chance. Yeah, man. He says don't forget little Isaac and y'all say 777. Yeah, so I've watched some episodes from little Isaac. I mean, my daughter, she's watched some of them. She doesn't really get into them too much. The one I like is Sunday Sam. That one is funny. Sunday Sam is funny, man. I was sitting there watching that one. I was like, I had to go watch that one again just for myself, because that was just purely entertaining. Uh, Purely entertaining, man. Give me 1 second, y'all. I'm just trying to plug in this laptop so it doesn't die on you guys. I don't want to cut out on y'all prematurely. Yeah. Also, too, I'm actually subscribed to a channel on YouTube called it used to be called Israelite Kids Corner, but they changed the name. They changed the name of it. But they have some cartoons on there as well. I believe it's called. Let me pull it up. See if I can pull it up for you guys here and show it on my phone. If I try to share my screen, it may take a while. So let me see if I can share it through here real quick. Israelite Kosher Cartoons. That's what it's called. Israelite Kosher Cartoons. So this is it right here. Israelite Kosher Cartoons. And if you guys go here on YouTube, you can subscribe to their channel, and you guys can. These are actually cartoons that your children can watch on here as well. Okay, and they do bring out a lot of different cartoons and stuff. So you guys can check them out. I actually watch them just me myself all the time. I do it quite often. Okay. Um, well, I guess if no one is going to come on, I'm gonna go ahead and get ready to shut this down. I definitely appreciate all you guys coming on in the chat, whether you're listening now or on the playback. Appreciate you tuning in, checking everything out. Make sure you guys support your brothers and sisters for all the different books that I showcased today. Um, and yeah, hopefully you guys can uh, use these tools to be able to help your children learn about who they are, keep them interested in it, keep them engaged. And you know, I will come back as newer books come out from brothers and sisters, most high willing. I will come back and do another review on those. Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and get ready to sign off of here. Shout out to Sal Showtime for allowing us to use the platform to be able to do this review. Most High Will and I will be back next week. And you guys just stay tuned for the additional content that's going to be coming. I'm not sure what's in the works right now as far as what's on the schedule. I believe that Zakaria is going to come back and do another reparations talk episode. He still got one more show that he needs to do. And we do got a couple other things that are lined up in the month of June. But that'll be later on down the line. So I'm gonna go ahead and get ready to sign off. You guys take care of yourselves. May Yahweh keep you and watch over you all over always. I bid you all a farewell. Shabbat shalom.